What is up guys, Deadset here. Last week I showed you the new Condemn build with the Crusader that I built for Seasons PTR. Today I'm going to show you a bit of Greater Rift footage along with my impressions of the build's performance. Check it out. In terms of gear, there are no changes from the original Condemn impressions video, aside from applying Ramaladnai's gift to my Blade of Prophecy and re-rolling the former socket to 10% additional damage. And of no small importance, I upgraded my Myrinae gem a few levels, nowhere near completion, but every single level helps out a little bit. When it comes to the build, however, I did make some changes. Both because of my low Paragon level and the need for extreme survivability in high-level Greater Rifts, I replaced the utility of Laws of Valor with Unstoppable Force for the tankiest law that we have, which is Law of Justice with the Immovable Object rune. Activating the law on top of the Prophet rune for Akarat's Champion, which is another very tanky choice, makes fighting elites, if not a carefree, then at least a little less worrisome endeavor. The switch to Law of Justice also has the side benefit of making the Wrathful passive a bit more pronounced in your healing, since this way the only Wrath cost reduction will come from your Akan set piece. Contrary to my initial impressions, I found that I'm getting a lot of utility out of Shield Glare, so I kept it in the build. The hard crowd control effect on a low cooldown with a 20% damage increase on top of that is a lot more valuable than I gave it credit for. Shield Glare also gives me a very important moment of safety when I need to step back and let my Akarat's Champion go off of cooldown, since my PTR gear is not at a satisfactory CDR point. All in all, I'm very satisfied with this ability's performance, and I'll be keeping it in the build in the future. You'll notice that I don't have a mobility skill in my selection. I would say that this is a gamble on my part, and I'm not recommending this by any means. I'll expand on that a bit more when I talk about the playstyle impressions of the Condemn build, but for now I'll say that it's doable, but it can backfire on you badly and cause you to fail the Greater Rift run. In place of the mobility skill, you'll find something that you probably haven't seen in a very long time, which is a generator skill. Slash with Zeal is a fine holy primary choice that will quickly build up Wrath, which is something I sorely needed because I was not using any of the Wrath related utility skills like Unstoppable Force or Embodiment of Power. Since Condemn does not lock you into any sort of animation, you can spam it freely while using Slash at the same time. Once your attack speed stacks up because of the Zeal rune, you'll maintain a good level of Wrath without too much trouble. Using Slash also provides a nice boost of your single target damage, which is by far the biggest weakness of the build. I tried out Heaven's Fury as I intended in my last video, and it did okay in normal rifts, but I found that using a no cooldown skill that you direct manually instead of the pseudo AI that Heaven's Fury has is more efficient for the needs of the build. Sometimes you just need damage on demand, and waiting on the cooldown of Heaven's Fury and the Wrath necessary for Condemn can lead to very dangerous downtimes, and that is something that will never happen with Slash on your bar. Let's talk about the playstyle a bit. You'll notice in the video footage, but playing with the skill selection that I outlined above for the Condemn build has shifted the gameplay from my previous video. I barely stood in one place during my initial impressions, but that has changed to a more static way of fighting because of using Slash along with the Condemn spam, and thus I'm rooted in one place as I swing away at the enemy. This could potentially result in hexing pants not being worth picking up for the build, but I would rather have it this way because you'll need a source of single target damage if you hope to compete. As I mentioned, the lack of steed charge is a huge gamble on my part. I knew I had to supplement my deficiencies in terms of gear and low legendary gem and paragon levels with a 6th skill devoted to utility and damage, and that meant keeping Shield Glare in the build. The gamble almost didn't pay off, and in certain Rift layouts it would certainly cause me to fail the Greater Rift run because of the low density and huge distances. Conversely though, this skill setup would mean I would do better than usual if the level turned out to be a very dense one with Act 1 monsters. This shines a spotlight on one of the flaws of the current Greater Rift system. Inevitably, the best Greater Rift runs that you see recordings of rely on tightly packed levels of Act 1 monsters, and relying on RNG to advance further up the rankings devalues the current system as a method of competition. For the future of the Greater Rift system, I would hope for more uniform distribution of monster density and monster difficulty. This would hurt the randomization and uniqueness of the Greater Rift runs, but to be frank, we have regular rifts for that. Finally, I would like to talk about the Mirenate gem in this build. If you haven't tried the PTR, this is a legendary gem that has a 15% chance to smite a nearby enemy for 1000% weapon damage as holy, which is upgradable to 2000% at max rank. The proc chance of that gem with Condemn, however, is particularly high, much higher than the proc rate with the other popular holy build, the shotgun. It does raise the question if everything is working as intended in the interaction between Condemn and the Mirenate gem, but as it currently stands, it adds tremendous value to the build and is certainly going to be the gem that you're going to be maxing out first. In terms of future progression, the second gem that you'll need to add, if you're aiming for a Condemn build in Seasons, is going to be the Bane of the Trapped, since Shield Glare finds a very good place in the build. Well, this is it from me and my evaluation of the Holy Condemned Crusader. I was very happy to find a lot more potential in the build than I initially suspected, and I hope you will too. If you liked what you saw, I would appreciate your subscription to my channel. Keep in touch with the Twitter and Facebook that I linked below. I leave you with this successful Greater Rift level 30, which was the last one I completed within the time frame. The level 32 that I got after that was filled to the brim with corrupted angels, so I'll leave it to your imagination of what happened there. Enjoy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Not ready yet. Wounds are deep. yet.